All right, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Waharakah Kodash. The belongings to the apostle elders, a great millstone, and salutations to you, Akim, out there laboring and doing this work in truth and sincerity. Now, Salakia, for the lesson I had posted where the audio was kind of misconstrued at the first 5 minutes of the video. So, I figured I'd take it upon myself to redo the video for you, Akim, in hopes that I can be able to edify and bring out the lesson I wanted to get into briefly, but the message was kind of stifled because of the bad audio quality. Salaki. So, pretty much, prophecy is being stirred up and taking place with World War III, pretty much jumping off. So over in the land of Israel, where those fake Jews are over in our land, you had Gaza shoot over 200 missiles over on the land of Israel, which, they was already receiving previous bombing strikes from Israeli drone planes or whatnot. And they ended up having the Gaza had one of their commanding military leaders killed in their home with their wife. So they retaliated by shooting over 200 rockets on the land of Israel. So, I was watching Al Jazeera and RT and whatnot, and people were running down in the underground bunkers or whatnot. So, this Third World War, it's not gonna be mainly fought with troops sent on the ground. It's gonna be fought, with thermonuclear destruction. It's gonna be fought with bombs, ICBMs, and so forth. All of these nations that got nuclear capability now, that is coming to the time where they're all going to use them. And that pursuit goes back in the prophecy, pursuing to Joel, the 3rd chapter. So I'll probably start off with that first. This is Joel 3. I'm going to start at 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahushua. All right, so we're in the time of the Most High, basically bringing or turning our captivity, So this is around the time where the Most High is getting ready to bring judgment on all of the heathen nations, their armies, their power structure in the earth. And at the top, the highest power in the earth that Esau, that is Esau, Esau is going to be brought down along with the rest of the other nations. Okay. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahushua, which the word Yahushua means the Most High's decision, or Yahweh's decision, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right. So, all of this is being stirred up in the earth because the Most High is about to bring our salvation, our deliverance, from the four corners of the earth, wherever we may be. This is Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what's happening now, because all of these Middle Eastern nations that Esau tried to keep control over or whatnot by, parading his nuclear capability to them. Well, guess what? They now have nuclear capability, So they're going to, be ready to stand against Israel, and America, in this Third World War. Okay. So America can't be the bully on the earth anymore. Neither can these Israelis. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All right. So these nations are going to be stirred up to war, so the Most High can, pretty much bring them down and get ready to send Yahushua for the elect and 1/3 deliverance. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter, starting at the first verse. To every purpose there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And just getting straight to the point, verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. We're in a time, where Esau is showing his true horns. More and more incidents, it's coming out where, you got Edomites, basically showing that racial tension and that hatred that they had for Jake. So, and you got sedition among men, in all of these countries in South America as well as overseas. So this is a time of hatred. It says a time of war and a time of peace. All right. So we're definitely not in the time of peace, So this is pretty much the time of that third woe taking place, which is World War III. This is Revelations 11, verse 14. The second woe is past. Right, because, so far, America has already seen 2 world wars. And we're right now in the time of prophecy, coming into the 3rd World War. The word woe means destruction. And in this great destruction of World War III, America is going to be desolate. It's going to be completely, the landmass will be completely destroyed, and it's going to be left for a memorial for all the wickedness that it has sown in the earth, once the sins of America, has reached onto the heavens, So the Most High is, going to have this place completely wiped clean off the map. That's what all of these things taking place is leading up to. All right. This is I'm gonna start at the 12th verse. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. All right, Salaki. I'm gonna start at let me start at verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies, talking about us Israelites when we're in our dead state without the spirit of the Most High upon us to know who we are as a people. It says 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth, right? Because these other nations, were at a confederate against us, pursuing the Psalms, the 82nd, 83rd chapter. And the whole thing about slavery was for them to put us out of remembrance of us being the Israelites, the chosen of the Most High. But now the Most High is sealing the elect, causing the majority of our people to know that they're Israelites. Okay? It says, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. Right, so they, Esau and the other nations, they rejoiced over our destruction. They rejoiced over, us being brought down as a nation. But now, in the face of our enemies, we're about to be brought back up. It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell on them which saw them. So, right, so that's being seen today. These other nations, especially Esau, who's damn near ready to shut down YouTube because of this word going out, and seeing these prophecies come to pass, while you got the men of the Lord, prophesying it happening. Esau is, literally afraid of him being told that, his kingdom, is being brought to destruction, and seeing it happen before his face, So, these elites want to shut down this word, and come against the men of the Lord. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And that's the hopeful elect's salvation, to be delivered up out of here when the Lord has those ICBM missiles sent to this place, and Yahushua and the chariots, which they call UFOs, is going to beam up the members of the elect, because from that point, they'll no longer have to be in hope, because they'll be beamed into the chariots. They'll have received the salvation, All right. So with the Israelis, stirring up nuclear war in the Middle East, as Akim been prophesying through the Spirit, I'm gonna read this. It says Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, which Babylon, place of confusion. It's talking about America, which is Mystery Babylon the Great. And his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right. So with Israel being a small country, in the Middle East, going around stirring up strife and war with Iran, with Syria, with Gaza, and so forth, and these nations being allied with Russia and so forth, because Russia is going to be a guard onto these nations. America being involved for Israel's interests, is going to, end up getting destroyed, by all of these different nations that's going to be against America, and they're going to shoot missiles on America, and the land of Israel is going to end up being destroyed. But the land of Israel is going to be inhabited again because it's going to be sown and tilled, Says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. Okay? Because once America is destroyed, the foundation of the earth is going to be shaken to and fro. Bear with me for a moment, actually. All right, so, this will more than likely lead to a trickle-down effect because these nations is ready to, retaliate against Israel and shooting rockets, is going to have that trickle-down effect to where, these missiles is going to end up being shot off, So, this place don't have a whole lot of time, to continue. This is Isaiah 9:5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. All right. So it ain't going to be fought with ground troops, people running and ducking and flanking each other with AR-15s and trying to sneak up for knife attacks and stuff like that, the confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and with fuel of fire, which is rockets, ICBM missiles, all of, these missiles that Esau and the other nations have in preparation for war. That's what this, how this pretty much is going to end, That's how Esau's power structure and America is going to end. Okay.
Abu Alata and his wife were killed as they slept in this building in Gaza. The Israeli airstrike was long in the planning, its repercussions just starting to play out. Abu Alata led Palestinian Islamic Jihad's northern military operation, a very senior figure and one Israel blamed for a series of rocket attacks in recent months.
These actions have started this morning after the crime was committed by Israel. Rockets were fired towards Tel Aviv, and Islamic Jihad, with all of the resistance groups, will continue targeting all safe places of the occupation.
Islamic Jihad said Israel had crossed all red lines and promised a bigger response than usual. One rocket exploded on a busy highway near Gaza, a near miss for those in passing cars and for those in a bus waiting at the intersection. In the southern town of Sderot, a factory suffered a direct hit, and rockets also targeted central Israel, restricting businesses and leading to blanket school closures from the Gaza border areas to Tel Aviv. Israel's prime minister, who's leading a second straight caretaker government after a second inconclusive election, said his country was not seeking an escalation. And he was careful to indicate politics hadn't entered into the decision to strike, one he said was recommended by the military and the Internal Security Agency.
The final decision was unanimously agreed on in the Cabinet 10 days ago, and the Cabinet gave me authority to implement it at a time that would be suggested by the IDF and the Shabak. The IDF and the Shabak indeed recognised a time. They recognised a window of opportunity to carry out the operation under the best conditions with a maximum chance of success and minimum impact on bystanders.
There was no Israeli comment, though, on another major strike overnight. This one in Damascus, targeting Islamic Jihad's second-ranking leader, Akmal al-Ajuri. Syria's state news agency said his son and granddaughter were killed. Islamic Jihad says Ajuri survived.
The size of the explosion is unacceptable. It affected many buildings. The explosion was so huge. It is unacceptable to hit a civilian area in such way.
Throughout the day, the rocket fire and airstrikes continued. Israel's military said it was targeting Islamic Jihad, perhaps a message that it wasn't seeking a direct confrontation with Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip and whose military wing represents Gaza's biggest fighting force. In a statement on Tuesday, Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel did not seek a wider escalation, yet he must have known that with a targeted assassination such as this and the inevitable rocket fire,
All right, Akim, so, you done pretty much seen the clip. And I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for putting the spirit on me to do and to redo this lesson. Hopefully this will edify you, Akim. And with that, I say Shalom.